The Ottawa Senators have not had a good season. They traded some of their really core players. The fans want their owner fired. Hopefully things get better this year. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe today as we continue the Summer Report series, taking a look at the Ottawa Senators. So the Ottawa Senators, a team that, as we just mentioned, lost Erik Karlsson, Mark Stone, Matt Duchene. They brought in Matt Duchene. And really, things have not gone well. Honestly, to say the least, it has been a tire fire of an organization recently. Hopefully things can turn around, or at the very least, they stay quiet. I think that's the big thing. Just stay quiet, get the arena situation done, and don't talk. But this isn't about that. Let's take a look at maybe some of the positives for the Ottawa Senators. There hasn't been a lot to be positive about, but let's talk about it. So the Ottawa Senators have almost $16 million in cap space, more like $30 million because of the amount of money actually spent by Eugene Melnyk. But so they still have a lot of cap space to work with if they need to. They'll probably just get to the cap floor and call it a day. That's probably it. Taking a look at some of the free agents heading into next season, you have Jean-Gabriel Pageau, who will be a free agent, Chris Tierney, Anthony Duclair, and Tyler Ennis. So I don't see how any of them are on this team past the trade deadline this year. I think they'll pretty much all be moved. Maybe Duclair stays, but I think besides that, I would expect them all to more than likely move. Try and get some value for them, and it saves Melnyk some money at the end of the day. So we'll have to see what they end up doing. They have so much cap space, though. I don't know what they're going to do to stay to the cap floor. Probably going to have to trade for a contract just to make this work. But, we'll see what happens with that. So the Ottawa Senators are a team that, they have, really not the best players, but they have a lot of players on that roster. They basically capped out at 50 players. They have a loaded roster, and this lineup today could very well change, before the beginning of the season. So it's one of those teams I was a little reluctant to do it for, but we might as well do it. So looking at that first line, you have Brady Tkachuk, Colin White down the middle, and Drake Batherson. That's actually a pretty good first line. Drake Batherson and Colin White can both play center, so that's definitely, that's a good thing. They have some center depth that can play on the wing. That's definitely, something that we wouldn't have been able to say about Ottawa, even 2 years ago. They had, Turris and Pageau, and Brassard, but this actually, it's actually not terrible. It's just very young, and we'll get into that later on. So you have on the second line, you have Connor Brown, Chris Tierney down the middle, and Bobby Ryan. All right, I do not like that one bit. I like Connor Brown. He could end up being on that first line if Batherson plays, second line center, which he inevitably could. And Bobby Ryan, man, the fact he's even on here is very concerning. I used to love him when he was with the Anaheim Ducks, but he has fallen from grace really rapidly and traumatically. So hopefully one of these young guys gets in that top six over him. Because you have Anthony Duclair and Max Verigno, as well as Artem Anisimov down the middle. I like my French. It was decent. Nonetheless, though, Anisimov's going to add some leadership to this team that they are desperately looking for, and they need some salary cap that they needed to take up, so it worked out. Then looking at the fourth line, you have Tyler Ennis, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, and Mikhail Bodker. It's so-so, really. It's nothing great, but, I think I like Pageau. I think the expectations for him being a second line top six center is all but gone. Ottawa kind of messed up not trading him when they could because he had a very high ceiling of value, and I mean, I'm sure it doesn't help that the team is awful around him. It really lowered his value, and Ottawa probably won't get what they probably could have gotten for him. Now the defense. So there's a little bit of excitement here because one of the guys they acquired for not too long ago will be making his NHL debut with the Sens this year. So you have Thomas Chabot and Dylan DeMello on that first pair. I think Chabot's a pretty good defenseman. Very young, though, and he doesn't have a great leader in Dylan DeMello next to him. DeMello is more of a 5-6 defenseman, if not a 7 defenseman on a good team. So, not too sure how I feel about that. Ron Hainsey will be partnered up with Eric Brandstrom, who they got, yes, from the Vegas Golden Knights in that Mark Stone trade. So, very exciting. We're going to have to wait and see what Eric Brandstrom becomes for the Ottawa Senators, but the ceiling is definitely very high on Brandstrom. Taking a look at the third pair, you have Mark Borowiecki as well as Nikita Zaitsev, who they brought in. So I don't know how I feel about Zaitsev. He may end up being on that top spot with next to Thomas Chabot over Dylan DeMello. I honestly feel like that may be the better option for the Ottawa Senators, but who knows? Borowiecki, he's been there for a while. Obviously, Eugene Melnyk, really likes him for some reason, which is quite odd to say the least. But yeah, so you have that. And then looking at the goaltending, you have Craig Anderson and Anders Nilsson, and I don't know how I feel about that goaltending. Anderson's getting older. He's had some health issues already. They're asking for a lot from Anderson. I would expect Nilsson to get at least half the starts, and a third goaltender is definitely going to need to be involved at some point or another this season. It's going to be another rebuild year, I guess you could say, for the Ottawa Senators. I don't know how this team makes the playoffs by 2021 or 2022, whatever they said, but we're just going to have to wait and see. Things are starting to go in the right direction. As long as Melnyk can stay quiet, I think that's the best thing for the Ottawa Senators. These fans are going through a lot, and they really don't need their owner bashing the team or bashing the Toronto Maple Leafs and then bringing in two of their defensemen who he bashed about their defense and Tyler Ennis, who was on their offense. I don't completely get that. But as well as the defensive coach and DJ Smith, it's almost like they're making a joke out of themselves. But nonetheless, let me know what you guys think of the Ottawa Senators. Make sure to comment down below what you think of the Senators heading into this year. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe. Check out the rest of our videos. Check out the rest of our Summer Report series as well as we take a look at all 31 NHL teams. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.